And welcome back. You're still watching Prime Morning. My name is Razak Musbau, and it's time for us to get into some of the issues you saw in the news headlines that just went by. And topical, one of them is the issue of some teachers who have not been paid for some months now. Very worrying trend. Yesterday, they staged a protest and, tried to draw the attention of the authorities to get this very concern resolved. And we have an opportunity to explore that very issue further on the show today. We understand that they have been posted and they have still not received their salary for years now. And we're going to speak into one of their representatives to get a bit more on how they have been faring for the years that they've not been paid and exactly why it is that they have been posted but have not received their salary. What could account for the failure of the government to pay them? That's something we're going to be digging into. And also we'll try and spend some time on the proposal by the ECG to increase the distribution charge by some 225%. And we'll tell you the implication of that on your consumption if it is approved by the PRC. And we'll try and get more into that and a few other oral comments that were made by the General Secretary of the NDC and how that is going to affect the effective implementation of that policy by the government. We'll get into that on the show today. We'd love to hear from you, so make sure you stay interactive. Let's hear from you what you think about all the stories that we'll be treating today so that we can be part of the conversation. Now, let's get talking now. Let's get in touch with the national organizer for the university graduate teachers, and he is Mr. Zurano Eugene, and he joins me now for some further probe into their situation. Mr. Zurano, thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning, and good morning to all your cherished listeners.
Thank you. I mean, first of all, tell us what your group is all about. We understand you are the national organizer for the university graduate teachers. Tell us about this group.
All right, so we are a group of teachers, not merely from the university alone, but from the colleges.
Zurano, please, can you speak up a bit for me?
All right, I'm saying that we are a group of teachers, not merely only from the university, but from the college education. So we have two groups of 9, which is approximately 1,000 teachers from the college education.
Zurano, your line is not clear at all. If you can just reposition yourself so that we can hear you clearly, because your situation is very concerning. I want to understand why you find yourself in that very condition. All right, so if you can reposition yourself so that we can hear you.
Is the line clear now?
It is better. It is better. You can go ahead.
All right, so I'm saying that we are not merely university graduates only, but with price of college education that is here too. Now, college education were represented in the month of September 2024, as the events were represented in the month of November 2024. So, the group that we are comprised of. Now, we were recruited as parents of the ex-administration last, and then coming to this year 2025, the new directives from the chief of staff that people who were not, who were recruited after 7th December's appointment should be revoked. And then our Director General, Professor Davis, also revoked that of the university's appointment. Hello?
I can hear you. Go on.
All right. So Director Davis revoked that of the university's appointment. And then we had to petition and then write letters, stage until we were reinstated in the month of February to go for validation, of which completed in the month of March. And from then, government have been able to scrutinize all our documents to tell whether indeed we met all the requirements before we were recruited from the month of March till now. We, the universities, have worked for 9 good months without a single salary. And then for those from the colleges of education have worked for 13 months. And both of us we are including the month of September, that we are still at post working actively to contribute to Ghana's development without a single salary.
Have you made a follow-up to the Ghana Education Service or even any authority on this matter, and what have they been telling you?
All right, so yes, we've had several engagements with the Ghana Education Service. If for nothing at all, we've met both the Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education for about 5 consecutive times. And our very last meeting was on the 19th of August with the Director General and his team members. And then on the 20th, we met the Minister of Education. And up to date, all that they are just telling us is the fact that all documentation to process our salaries have been worked on, but it's only the finance minister who have not released funds for us to receive our salaries. But we are also baffled with that kind of statement in the sense that we were recruited in the previous year with a clearance. So if it has expired on 31st of December, the finance minister will only have to reactivate that same clearance for us so that we can be able to receive our money. And to date, the finance minister reactivating that clearance from January to September have become a problematic for us, and we don't understand why.
Have you made an attempt to reach out to the Labour Commission on your situation, and what have they also been telling you?
All right, so we've written letters to NAT, NAGAT, CCT, which are our teacher unions.
Yeah.
We've written to Christian Council. We've written to the Ghana Catholic Bishop Conference. We've written even to the Chief Imam, even as at yesterday. We've written to the majority, minority. We've written to the Clerk of Parliament. We've written to the Petitions Committee of Parliament. We've written to the Select Committee on Education. And then lastly, we wrote to the Labour Union, and they have also made us aware that they cannot be able to fight government on our behalf because government is a powerful instrument.
I mean, that's very worrying, extremely worrying. 9 months without salary, others 13 months. And I'm wondering, how have you been fending? How have you been taking care of yourself? And you continue to report to work every now and then. Tell me, how have you been able to take care of yourself all this while?
All right, so myself, I commute every day from house to work. And if for nothing at all, I spend 20 cedis on transport each day to work. There are colleagues of mine who spend about 50 cedis using Okada from where they live to where they are schooling. And all that would have to be financed through loans, through petty begging from friends and relatives. Even to a date when you pick up your phone and you are calling a friend, he knows definitely you are coming to ask for money. And then that has been the state of our livelihood. Now, some of us also had to starve ourselves in the morning and then go to school and then take part in the one-hot meal that is being provided for the students in our respective schools. The question is, how do we survive when school goes on vacation? And we have to go back to our 1 square meal ourselves a day to be able to survive. Our colleagues who are in the northern region and other parts of the hinterland are struggling even crossing water boundaries before going to school. Some have developed waterborne diseases and other health complications. In the month of May, one of our colleagues who have worked from September last year to the month of May, who was pregnant, even lost her life because of the fact that she does not have enough income on herself to cater for herself and her pregnancy. And this situation has become unbearable for us, and we are pleading that government should come to our aid. If not, we would all go to death before even our salaries arrive in our bank accounts.
We understand you're planning to do something come September 23. Tell us more about it.
All right, so the September 23rd, we have given the ultimatum for government to let our salaries and arrears reflect in our bank account. Not that we are starting on that 23rd, because validation for salary payment ends on the 18th of every month. We are asking the Ministry of Education, the Ghana Education Service, and the Finance Minister and Controller Accountant General to fast-track our salary processing before 23rd of September. If we exceed that 23rd and we do not hear anything from them, we will stage a massive demonstration, of which we have written to the Ghana Police Service. And yesterday, we engaged with the regional police commander, and then he has given us his assurance of his protection for us to stage our demonstration. So the dates will be made known to the public once all documentation with the police is completed.
I mean, beyond 23rd of September and the demonstration you are looking to stage, beyond that, if you do not get a satisfactory response from government. What do you intend to do? Are you considering court action?
Well, we aren't considering a court action because labor union has made it aware to us that it will be even difficult for them to fight for us if we want to take legal actions against the government. But we would continue to demonstrate and then write to civil societies that could come in. Even if the need be that we write to the various ambassadors of other countries to intervene in our situation, we would write to them. If we need to write to the diplomats in this country, we'll write to them to come to our aid. And the last that we would resort to will be a massive one whole month demonstration and not going to the classroom.
Well, I mean, we're hearing from some of your colleagues who are suggesting that the situation you find yourself in is, what do you call it? It's a political, they describe it as a political decision, to put you in this situation you find yourself in. I mean, why do some of your colleagues make that argument? Why do they feel that you are being targeted?
All right, so from our own perspective or our point of view, why we feel our issue is being politicized is in the sense that we know governance is continuity. And if an XY administration have recruited teachers, and indeed there were vacancies in the various schools that we were posted to, meaning there was a need for labor in those schools. So we are just asking that now that there is a new government, the government should rather continue, because he promised that he was going to create more jobs. So he was supposed to continue to give us our salaries and ensure that there is livelihood. Our Minister of Education on the floor of Parliament said that he was going to recruit 60,000 teachers, which include teaching and non-teaching staff, meaning there are still deficits in our classroom. But we are being viewed with a political lens because we're recruited closer or getting closer to election. But we are asking, are we not citizens of this country? Are we not contributing to the development of this country? Director General Professor Davis said it at PAC, and I quote, not verbatically, but he said he is not the one who recruited us for him to fast-track our salary processes. That is the reason why we are beginning to feel that since it is not the entity that recruited us, that is why Director Davis would also make such a comment on the grounds of PAC.
Well, Zorano, it's a very unfortunate situation you find yourself in. We're only hoping that the authorities will act and try and get you at least some money, if not all, but within this period, it can get you some money so that you can take care of yourself for the service you are offering Mother Ghana. Zorano, I want to say thank you for your time, and we'll be following your story.
Okay, so lastly, before I leave, I would want to also use your podium or your medium to reach out to the Chief of Staff, that we know that he's also a father to the fatherless. We have written to his outfit, we've written to the Vice President. All those that have received our letters, we are crying out to them that they should sit with the President and then at least plead on our behalf that our voice and our salary should be given to us. We cry out to the First Lady of this country. She's a mother to all of us. We are asking her to kindly speak to the husband on our behalf for our plea to head. Thank you.
Zorano, thank you very much. Really appreciate the time. And we're hoping that tomorrow, when the president meets the media, your issue at least will come up and we'll get to see what the president will have to say about that. Zorano is the national organizer for the university graduate teachers who have been unpaid for 9 months and others as much as 13 months since they were posted to their various, what do you call it, schools. And that clearly has made it difficult for them to take care of themselves, their family, and a few others. And the situation appears to be quite prevalent because there are nurses who have also been posted and are unpaid. 7, 8 months have been unpaid, and also they have been calling for government to come to their aid. All right, so we'll get further into that. But yesterday, reports surfaced that the Bono regional chairman of the MPP, Abronye, was arrested by the police. And the police, in a statement today on their Facebook page, indicated that he was arrested for breach of public peace. And they say that, and we saw visuals of him where he was handcuffed and, we understand, taken to the NIV cells. Now, of course, we're not sure how this is going to develop, but one worrying thing that has also come out of all of this is that on Sunday, The police went to the house of the national youth organizer of the MPP in Greater Accra region to apparently arrest Abronye. And the manner in which the police went to do that has raised questions about the modus operandi of the police. We're going to show you visuals of that on your screen very shortly. And many are wondering if this is how the police should ordinarily conduct themselves when they're coming to your house, you and I, our house, to arrest us or arrest somebody. Is this the manner the police should conduct themselves? We're going to roll the visuals on the screen for you very shortly. But you see the police outside of the house of Moses Abo, and then I think they knocked, probably nobody opened, and then they began to jump the wall. And in jumping the wall, you see individuals who have covered their faces with these hoods, and they were jumping the wall. And it's very concerning because for any private person, we can have the visuals roll on the screen now. I'm not sure if there is a sound in it, but then it's rolling on your screen. You can see at this point. So you can see at this point, these are policemen outside of the house of Moses Abo, who is the national youth organizer of the MPP in the Greater Accra region. So these were police officials, all right? These were the police officials standing outside of the house. And they apparently were coming there to arrest Mr. Abronye because it was suspected that he was there. Now, and these are one of the police officials. And this is worrying because why will the police officer be hooded in this manner? And you could see, first of all, he checked if there was anybody on the compound. You could see some police officials were at the gate also trying to knock. Then one police officer, this is a police officer, jumped the wall, hooded, and you're wondering why should you be hooded? I mean, this is a legitimate arrest. This is an arrest that has been ordered by the courts, and the police have the right to issue arrest. Then he jumps on the wall, has his face covered, a few others also standing outside the wall. Then he proceeds to jump. And, you know, ordinarily, this should not happen to any private individual because my home, if you come to arrest me in this manner, this would be very worrying. But then further confirmed that it's police. Another official you could see with the police, you know, and eventually they gain access to the facility. And then some individuals, you could see there was a lady who was in red. She was asked to kneel down. And you could see, okay, a gentleman in red, he was asked to kneel down, not a gentleman or a lady, but eventually the police had access to the house. But then the concern is the manner in which they got into the house. Should this be normalized, you know, for the police and the professionalism that they uphold and all that we've known them for the exceptional work they did at Kwatia by-elections and the wonderful work they continue to do. I don't think this should be normalized as far as gaining access to any Ghanaian's house is concerned, jumping in the manner they did. I'm not sure what you make of it. But Abronye has been arrested now, and we'll get into that. Well, I've been joined in studio by my guests, honorable guests already, and we're going to get into the issues. As I mentioned, we'll get into the ECG's proposal to increase the distribution charge. That has also generated some debate, so we'll get into it. And also into the NDC's oral initiative and the concern the General Secretary has raised about some NDC lawyers trying to cut deals. We are questioning if indeed the NDC is going to achieve its aim of oral Operation Recover All Loot and, you know, hopefully recover 21 billion that they estimated to recover. Anyway, in studio with me is I want to call him, he is often referred to as the street favorite MP. I saw him at the Independence, the Democracy Cup, and it seems to suggest that if he had not been a politician and the career he's currently on, he probably would have done well for the Black Stars yesterday against Mali. His talent is undeniable. And there's also a viral quote card of him, which has got people asking, what is happening? He said that, let me just quote it, and then if you haven't seen it, let me just quote it for you. He says, and I quote, he says, aside everything, I'm lonely in life. He doesn't look lonely, but people were surprised to hear that he's lonely in life because he's a very happy man, and it was surprising to hear him say that he's lonely. Honorable Stephen Amoah is my guest. He's the MP for Inshiaso and member of the Finance Committee.
Dr. Stephen Amoah.
Dr. Stephen Amoah. Yes, Dr. Stephen Amoah. Yeah, that's
It's very important.
That is very important. Dr. Stephen Amoah.
Hallelujah.
Doc, you were decent on Sunday at the University of Ghana Stadium.
Decent?
Yeah, you were decent.
Vocabulary. I need to find out the context in which you want to use it.
You were decent in terms of your football skills.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I used to play at the coast level.
Oh, wow.
Years back.
Which team?
It was called Rangers. Long time.
Wow.
I used to be a midfielder. 4-8-6, any of them. And I used to be very good, years back. But I want to ask you, how come that we take everything as when it comes to code cards, TikToks and other, even up to now, you yourself know that most of these extracts are taken out of context. Yet people get worried.
That's why I was curious. I was curious to ask you today what you meant by this, because you don't look like a lonely man. So I was wondering. You want to respond to that?
No, I think it was actually placed in a certain context.
Okay.
As you know, people think I'm very affable. Today, you even added another, I don't know whether it's adjective. They say I'm the favorite MP.
Yes, on the street.
You even said street, which was, they are all good, If I have not been tagged somebody who is corrupt. I've been doing politics almost 30 years.
Wow.
And they haven't said, Dr. Amoah is corrupt. Dr. Amoah has committed murder. And they say that I'm favorite simply because I'm extremely friendly. When I'm in the public space, I'm fine, nice with everyone. Even my NDC colleagues. Despite my posture sometimes on platforms, I have a very healthy relationship with almost all of them. So this was the discussion that we're having. But I said that the way people see me outside, when it comes to my private life, is different. Because, in fact, including MPP and DC MPs, I don't think I know more than 6 MPC's houses.
Wow.
I don't think so. I'm not the type that I'm so much into caucuses, friends, but I love everyone. So I was trying to say that from that space, I'm always very lonely. Either I'm studying, I'm sleeping, I'm doing something else. And I'm very prayerful too. I'm not that holy. So one of the code cards, they even stated that, I'm not too spiritual, but everything is about the Bible. Because almost everything in the Bible to me can really shape my life. Not necessarily being holy that I'm talking about, but the Bible says that lazy hands make a man poor. If you read Proverbs 10:4. But lazy hands bring wealth. If you work hard, you make it. So I take it as, it's very practical. Why won't I work hard? Maybe the Bible will say, that's how my life is. So they pick what I said that, I appear very motor child, extrovert. I flirt when I'm outside. Very friendly, it doesn't matter once, social stratum. I'm nice with everyone. But when I leave that public space, I'm always alone, very lonely, doing my own stuff. I don't know if you get my
I get it. I think most people can relate with that. Most people can relate with that, to some extent. How
often do you see me in public places?
Yeah, that's fair too,
Exactly.
That's fair too.
Apart from politics.
Yes, but these days, you're everywhere because of Ken's campaign. You are almost everywhere now.
My voice is heard, but not everywhere.
Okay.
Ken, the incoming president.
Hamza Suyini is a lawyer and member of the NDC communication team, and he's also been going viral these days with his strong submissions on most platforms. Hamza, good morning. Good to have you.
Good morning, my brother, and I'm glad to be on this platform. And also good morning to Honorable Sticker.
Why are you twins?
Maybe you can say we are spiritual twins. That's what we tell ourselves. But we are not.
But biological siblings?
Yes, biological siblings.
Because when I spoke to you at first, I said that you guys are chopping.
Yeah.
I thought it was your brother. Honestly, but later I realized that, you look
No, it happens all the time. So we are all used to it. At least we are used to it.
So you're the younger to him?
Yes, I'm the younger. I'm younger to him. So
It looks
so similar. You know.
It happened.
Anyway, great. But I want us to start from. I mean,
we are all used to it now.
I want to start from what you saw, and I think just when you came in, we were playing the visual. Just quick comments on that, and Amsa, you can have a bite on that. I'm not sure you or any other person will be comfortable having the police invade their homes in this manner.
Absolutely not. And you see, that raises the question of consistency when it comes to our politics in this country. And for many of us, it was not for nothing that we joined the agenda for reset. Because this has always been the conduct of the police service. But thankfully, the media is now bringing spotlight to that kind of activity. We experienced it in the last regime a number of times. Many of our ex-appointees had to go through that ordeal, and we thought that it was not proper. Then I remember that the government of the day also sought to distance itself from the operations of the Ghana police and indicated that indeed they had not sanctioned many of these kind of raids. There were doubts about it. Unfortunately, today, that culture seemed to be happening again. And you need to understand that those of us who are at the top, especially when it comes to politics, are mostly not really connected to such activities. There are elements either in the Ghana Police Service or Ghana Army or any other security installation who may also brand themselves as being sympathetic to the political parties. And so when there's a change of government and they are tasked with responsibility of carrying out a court order or an arrest warrant, many of them can also be overzealous. In their mind, they are paying back in terms of what happened.
They are paying back to the individuals involved.
Yeah, in some cases,
paying back for what might have happened
to ex-government appointees in the past in parties that they are associated with. And many of these things may not necessarily be sanctioned by the political authority. And that is the reason why I have always argued that we need to be careful as a country, especially the two major political parties, when it comes to how we play our politics. And it is very, very important because what I witnessed is something that we should not encourage. But the point I need to emphasize is that this is not the first time we are having to see events of this nature. We've seen that in the past. And so we have to join the discussion and agree as political actors whether this is how we should continue. And when it comes to the management of these state institutions, especially the Ghana Police Service, we must also try as much as possible to take politics out from it. Look, we have appointed an Inspector General of Police.
Yeah.
He owes certain responsibilities to the good people of this country. He must account to us in terms of how he deploys his men on the ground. So this should not be placed on the doorstep of the government of the day. We must learn how to hold institutional heads accountable in this country, especially institutional heads that are not political in nature. So these are questions we should be directing at the IGP and his men. What informed this manner of arrest?
I mean, is it the norm? And you're a lawyer, okay? You're a lawyer and you're familiar with how the policemen can come into your house before they can gain access to your premises. You see one covered his face, he jumped the wall. Others also, without any police, what they call a uniform, etc., entering the home with guns. I mean, as a lawyer, if you want to educate us, what does the law say about such conduct?
I think that it is clearly illegal. There's no legal basis for such arrest, especially when the police officer clearly is hooded. And from the videos you are showing, it is difficult to tell whether indeed the gentleman is a police officer or not.
Yes,
and that is the more reason why it is important for you to engage the Ghana Police Service to actually be sure that these are men from their unit. This is important. The fact that we have been given video images of what purported to have happened in that particular residence does not mean that these were men sanctioned by the Ghana Police Service. And so as responsible media men,
So this happened in the house of Musbau. Musbau confirmed that these individuals confirmed to him they were from the police, and even some of them were in police outfit. You could see that holding guns, and he confirmed that when he asked them, they confirmed to him that they are from the police. They're here to arrest the NPP chairman Abronye, and they've received intelligence that he's in this house. And he told them that he was not in this house. They searched the place, he was not in this house. And later on, Abronye went to present himself. So, I mean, they confirmed that they were from the police, and the police was indeed looking for Abronye.
It is not about what Moses has indicated to you. That is just one side of the story. And that is the reason why as far as our ethics is concerned, especially when it comes to journalism, it is only proper that you listen to the other side. So you should have gotten in touch with the PR unit of the Ghana Police Service.
But this has been out.
Sure.
But you know, this has been out for several hours now. The police have confirmed they've arrested Abronye. This video has been out since Sunday.
This is the first time I'm seeing this video.
It's been out since Sunday, and the police have seen this video. They have not commented that it was not
you cannot see it with certainty.
But they have confirmed that they have arrested Abronye.
Absolutely. The arrest of Abronye is different from the video you are showing on your screen.
So you want the police to confirm or deny?
You are carrying that story. That video has been given to you by an operative of Abronye or a friend of Abronye. And these are his claims. All what I'm saying is that responsibility demands that as a media house, you get in touch with the Ghana Police Service. I'm sure that you have access
to the PR unit. But will you be surprised if this was conducted by the police?
Then we can condemn it together. That's why I started my submission by saying that if indeed, I was very careful with my choice of words, this is coming from the police, then it is condemnable. And I indicated that this is not the first time we are having to deal with issues of this nature. Yeah. And there's the need for us to put an end to many of these things.
I think the current Attorney General
even armed robbers, criminals can take advantage of things like this and begin to attack homes.
Absolutely.
And remember that we have also had situations where people have gone to buy police uniforms or brand them as impersonate police officers and military officers. So this is not new. And that is the reason why it is important for you to have spoken to the Ghana Police Service to ascertain the veracity or otherwise of the video that you have put out there. As to whether indeed these were men from their unit, then we can have that broader discussion and begin to call for a responsible way of conducting arrests, especially when it comes to the Ghana Police Service. But I can assure you that if indeed this video is authentic, the minister responsible for Interior and National Security would probably look into the matter and ensure that at least we bring a closure to these kind of
Honourable Stephen, you seem to have been jotting some things down. What's your reaction to this? I mean, Amzat clearly condemns it, but he raised concerns if indeed it's the police who are engaged in it. As you mentioned, it's been out there for hours. The police probably have seen it. I mean, they're a very intelligent group. They probably have seen this video circulating, but they haven't responded to it, denying that it's from them. Your party official has confirmed that it's from the police. But overall, I mean, this shouldn't be encouraged.
Thank you very much. I think you and my brother here are almost on the same page. He has condemned it, but also trying to say that what is happening could not have even been the police, because there hasn't been any official statement. And then you also made a very good point that, okay, this is a public thing. The police that we know would have come out to say that those who went there were not our men, which means they were police in a way. For now, preliminary, that's what we can establish. Honestly, if you read the is it the Criminal and Other Offences Act? Act
29. 29 or 30?
No, it's 30. The 29 is the crime itself. The procedure is the Act 30. That talks about.
You are talking about the procedure. Oh, yeah, procedure is Act 30.
30. It actually emphasizes the point that the police have the mandate to actually break into somebody's house if it feels there's something going on about crime, or crime is about to be committed, which I find Abronye's issue very interesting, that I don't think it can be justified, because even that thing, it goes further to emphasize the point that there should be a credible justification, which I don't think this case gets there. And purely the fundamental human rights, are being undermined. All right, it's been undermined in our country. But you see, my concern is something is being developed. We are even lucky we saw policemen with those things. My brother said the fact that even it is written, implied, not, it wasn't, an express or explicit statement, couldn't have even been inferred that it was a policeman, because somebody can ride there and jump a wall. The act itself did not really depict that standard of official police operation. And that is why I'm afraid. Any other group that will want to perpetuate crime of this nature or comparable to this could do what they did.
Yeah.
They just get mask. If policemen are going to arrest somebody, why do you put on a mask? If you are doing the right thing within the confines of the law. And let me tell you, I had this experience. You know, there were these two young ladies who spoke ill about the president, which I condemn in no uncertainty.
Yeah.
The way, initially, it wasn't even the police. They said they didn't even know them, whether they were criminals. But later on, they came to say that, oh, they were national security personnel. In Kumasi, they went there, broke their door, entered their room, and then abducted them. It was a serious thing, like a rumble star, as if these young girls were causing treasonable offense. They brought all the way from Kumasi, brought them to Accra. 96 hours. We couldn't find where they were. I went to, because I was informed. I didn't even know them, but they called me and said, oh, they are from your constituency. Normally when they say that, it means you have to follow. They told me there was a national security outfit somewhere around Abronye. My office used to be there. I went there, getting very late in the night. They are like, oh, I should go to Blue Gate, Regia. I went there. I left there almost 12 midnight. I didn't find them. We're only told after 96 hours that they had been sent to police headquarters. So now they had that transition from the so-called national security, respectfully, not in a bad sense, because I couldn't have established that time they were national security, to the police headquarters. I went there, went back and forth, I couldn't find them. Then I was informed they had been sent to Cantonment Police Station. That was where we went and found them. Now look at the law. If you say bad things about your president, I am very particular about that, because you are destroying your country, the image of your sovereignty. So I'm against it. And the law has every right to deal with you. But we have laws and rules. And that is why when it comes to natural law, they talk about morality that comes once performance, whether it's being adhered to the rules, the very rules that give you the mandate. If you read the Constitution, Article 4, Article 14, 3, Article 14, Clause 3 and 4. I mean, totally it was breached. Totally.
I mean, 96 hours is beyond.
And then 96, you are coming to 96 deals with the Criminal and Other Offences and Procedures Act. That's where you talk about the Act 30. That one talks about the 48-hour, period that one can.
For 96 hours, you couldn't find.
Yes, but when it comes to even the Constitution, that clause 14 that I was talking about. Okay, it talk Article 14, Clause 3 and 4. It even states that if within a certain period, the 3 talks about the 48. The 4 talks about within that reasonable period of time. If you don't give the person a bail, he has to even be released. Trust me, we sent them to the court. One of them was very sick or ill, that he had even gotten, prior to that, a drip from the police hospital. With all those things around her, she was sent to the police. First, they said that she was going to be tried at here. Is it the court somewhere near where Kwame Nkrumah's Museum, whatever is? That court. We went there in the morning. We stayed there for so many hours. So I had to rush back to the police station to see whether they had eaten. When I came there, I got a hint that they were removing the girls from there to Adenta. Charlie, it was purely torture for this thing they had committed. We went to Adenta. They didn't even listen to us. They didn't even listen to our plea. Everything was said. It was like a rumble star, proper. 2 weeks, go and stay behind the bars. Then
at the court?
Yes. Then they brought them to Cantonment Police Station. I arrived there, I think the next day or so, for me to be told that they had taken them away from that place to a place near Spenters. My brother, what is happening in our country? What is happening in our country? They being arrested, why not? But what kind of crime? Even the lawyers, I'm not a lawyer, they talk about, is it first felony, second felony, they talk about misdemeanor and all those, because every crime or whatever offense it is, it comes with its corresponding punishment or whatever. But young girls, what they did was wrong. Me, I'm against what they did. The law had to deal with them. You went to Kumasi, You could not even prosecute them in Kumasi. You brought them here, 96 hours, they were being tortured. They took them from one place to another. The court, look.
We understand they've been granted bail now. Have they been released now? Are they home?
Yeah, on a bail. Even that one, they had to put them back for 2 days again. Look, let's all be careful. Nobody will have power in perpetuity. Let's be careful. As my brother said, 92 NDC was there. 8 years later, MPP came. 8 years later, NDC came. 8 years later, MPP came, and NDC is there. And still, people do not know that we should be mindful of what we are doing. Because some of these pieces of, in my opinion, acts or commissions and omissions and all these things and behaviors, because somebody is in power and he has to pay somebody back or wants to abuse the power he has. If you don't take care, you may not get probably somebody who is quite moderate, like His Excellency President John Mahama or Nanado or any other person. But one day you may get somebody whose genes might be comparable to other African country leaders we've ever read about and what will happen in our country. So please, this whole thing about national security, about police, about this, we should be careful. It's not only under NDC. Don't let us come and sit here and say that, oh, national security, some of their excesses only under NDC. No.
Yeah.
Normally, when we have new governments, the national security, some of them put up behaviors that are not in line with the rule of law or the very laws that put them in those positions. And I think we need to, as a country, in no uncertainty, we need to condemn this. We need to come out strongly so that we can maintain that sovereignty, that peace. If you read our constitution, it talks about the sovereignty of Ghana. Lie within what? The people themselves. I mean, if I have to read it well. And the very constitution is being undermined.
I think bottom line, the concern is that as much as you have political actors like Hamza, Honorable Stephen, or condemning these acts, there seems to be no, what do you call it, collective consensus, some consensus that this should not be the way to go. There are still some elements in the NDC who believe that we need to execute some, what do you call it, vengeance for things that were done to us in the past. Likewise, some elements in the MPP who are waiting to come to power and execute similar acts. I mean, it's concerning. It's extremely concerning.
I pray that if I were, if I were Moses, I would sue the police.
You see, and that is the point I was making initially. Like he indicated, if you look at Act 30, it is clear. The processes of arrest is clear. It is legal. When you want to enter a place to effect an arrest warrant and you are denied access, the law permits a police officer to break into that.
Were they denied?
No, that is the point I'm making. The law allows them to have access to at least their place. But in this case, there is no evidence based on the videos that we have been shown that indeed anybody was spoken to and was denied access. In any case, the law does not say that the police officer should be hooded. At least one should be able to identify the police officer. And that is the reason why I'm extremely concerned. You see, we are partners with you, those of you in the media, when it comes to protecting this democracy that we have decided to place our country on. And we must begin to put responsibility where, or demand responsibility where the Constitution has placed say. And many of these institutions would have been appointed by political authorities, undoubtedly, because that's what the Constitution stipulates. But when they are appointed, those of you in the media must hold them to the accountability test. You do not expect His Excellency President Mahama to do that on a daily basis. That is why we are partners in development. If you have such a video and you feel that there's something untoward, the institutional head must be called to account. If your advocacy leads to his inability to account for these actions, the presidency will now be in a position to fire him. Or if you like, your job would have actually brought it to the attention of His Excellency the President to order investigation into the conduct of many of these institutions. But you see, in this country, we feel that the easiest way to get results is to place everything on the doorstep of the political class. And for me, that is my disappointment. So if Ghana Water Company Limited is not working, it is as a result of the inefficiency of the NDC government or MPP government. If ECG is having problems. And so people get away, especially the civil service.
It's not maybe because the political actors like to take credit for the successes of these institutions.
It is normal for political...
For which reason,
yes,
you know, the responsibility of it is given to them.
Exactly, but in any case, you can also deny the fact that that is why the Constitution has a mechanism where you are given an opportunity to vote them in or out of power. But when it comes to the civil servants they work for or they work with, there must also be a mechanism for us to hold them accountable. They are paid by taxpayers' money. And for me, that is my issue.
Yeah.
If this video is authentic, we should be engaging the PR unit of the Ghana Police Service. We should not just conclude that because they are quiet, that means the video is authentic. Even if the video is authentic and we are convinced that it is authentic, someone must be speaking to it.
Yeah.
Because we did not go around this country to campaign to reflect the personality of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, which is known. Indeed, when he was first introduced to our political landscape as running mate in 2007, 2008, even leading members of the New Patriotic Party had cause to commend his personality and indicated how moderate and respectful and humane a gentleman he is. And so those attributes are still there.
Yeah.
And it was at the back of that we campaigned in 2024 and elected. And we will not sit down for any state institution to take for granted that image, an attribute of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama.
All right,
and we can only make meaningful progress as a country if those of you in the media are willing to partner us in that drive.
And I think we're doing that to a very large extent. We're doing that for a very large extent, and we'll continue to do that.
Have you been able to call the PR unit to confirm the authenticity or otherwise of the video?
Of course.
Absolutely not.
I think, as you mentioned, we're going to have a very sound follow-up to this because there's been a lot of incidents in this regard. The military have been engaged, even, assaulted a colleague of ours, followed up, very little has come out of it. But we're hoping there will be some decisive action to stem some of these things in the back. But let's talk about the ECG because we understand there's a proposal to PRC. It's in line with what the finance minister indicated when he presented a budget to Parliament. There's going to be a quarterly increment in the utility tariffs, and he did indicate, even in the mid-year budget, that in the fourth quarter there's going to be a proposal to PRC for a possible increment in the utility tariffs. And the proposal that has come from ECG, NETCO, and GRIDCO is the effect that they want some 225% increment in the distribution charges. That is significant, really significant, if you look at how much they're going to accrue. But much more are the reasons they gave for this proposal. We'll get into it. But we have a very brief report on that for you. We're going to share that with you. And then we'll look closely at some of the reasons they gave. And among them, they say that because of the depreciation of the cedi, part of which they're asking for that huge increment, 225%. Let's listen to the report that one of our colleagues on the research desk put together.
Ghana has formally submitted a proposal to the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission requesting an upward adjustment in its distribution service charge, the component of electricity tariff that funds the distribution and retailing of power. If approved, the adjustment could have a significant impact on electricity bills nationwide. Under the proposal, ECG is requesting that the tariff be raised from 19.04 pesos to 61.8 pesos per kilowatt hour, a 225% hike. The company argues that the current tariff level is unsustainable for its operations. It attributes the request to several factors, including depreciation of the cedi, which has eroded the value of its revenues, a $408 million investment in network upgrades and smart metering systems to improve power reliability, reduce outages, and efforts to align tariffs with industrial standards. ECG estimates that the new charges will generate an annual revenue of 9.5 billion Ghana cedis between 2025 and 2029. This amount, according to the utility, would be allocated to cover operational costs, depreciation of assets, staff salaries, and recovery of recent capital expenditures. For consumers, the impact could be substantial. A household using 100 kilowatts per hour monthly would pay about 43 Ghana cedi more in distribution charges, while one consuming 150 kilowatts per hour would face an additional charge of 64 Ghana cedis. It is important to note that this is a proposal. The PRC is expected to carefully review the request, assess whether the increase is justified, and determine how the cost will be distributed across residential, lifeline, non-residential, and industrial customers. For now, Ghanaians await the regulator's verdict, a decision that could reshape both household budgets and business operating costs in the coming days.
All right, so that's my colleague from the research desk sharing with us what the proposal is from ECG, Gridco, and Netco. But what you can see behind me was what the finance minister indicated, that there's going to be an adjustment in the utility tariffs in the fourth quarter. We are now in the fourth quarter. And what you can see here, is what the ECG are proposing. So currently it's 19.04 pesos. That's the distribution charge. They want to increase it to, the proposal is to increase it to 61.8 pesos. And if you do the tabulation, that's 225%. And that's millions of Ghana cedis annual revenue generation. But fundamentally, it's the reasons they gave. The reasons they gave for this proposal, this 225 proposal. Number one, they say current charge is below industry benchmarks. The current charge, the distributing charge, is below industry benchmarks. And the 225% will bring it to that level so that they can function efficiently and provide services to the people of Ghana. Then number two, they say because of cedi depreciation, it has reduced the value, okay? And recent time, we've seen that the cedi has been depreciating a bit, but has stabilized somewhere around 12% at this point. But fundamentally, ECG is telling PURC that the cedi has depreciated and it has affected their value and even their revenue. So they want this increment so that they can also get enough funds to do what they're currently doing and do it even better. Then the third reason they gave is $408 million spent on network upgrades and smart meters. So they've made a huge investment and they are hoping that this very, adjustment will at least help them to recoup the investment they've made into that area. And for most of you, you can see that the ECG have come to fix a number of new meters, okay? But then in 2022, there was a similar proposal. And this is to say that, look, although ECG have made this proposal, it is not always the case that they will get their proposal approved. For instance, in 2022, they proposed that the charge be increased to 39.95, but PRC only approved 19.04. So this year that they are looking to get 61.8 is most likely, based on what happened in 2022, the PRC will not approve the 61.8 as they are demanding, but hopefully they will get something close to that. So that's what we can share with you, and then I'll bring my guests into the conversation now. It's only a proposal by the ECG that needs to be made very clear, and based on the history, ECG does not always get their proposals fully approved by PURC. There's always something that is given to them and something that is taken away from them. Let me bring Honorable Hamza in on this very subject. I mean, some of the reasons they are given, I'm not sure what you make of it. And your government have been in some business of increment. I mean, so far we've seen at least 3 times the utility tariffs have been increased, and also the D-levy has been introduced, all intended to help with the energy sector. And now the fourth quarter, we are hearing of a proposal of 225%. That's a lot of revenue you are looking to generate for the energy sector. And some are saying, for a government that came to lessen the burdens of Ghanaians, it looks like in the energy sector alone, you're not doing much of that.
I think that it is important for us to put the whole issue in perspective. Undoubtedly, this is a government that campaigns on the promise of making the life of the ordinary Ghanaian better. Yeah. But not just that, we also made a commitment to ensuring that when it comes to our public institutions, we get it to function at their maximum best, with the hope that in the not too distant future, as a republic, we may be positioned to take the full advantage of the successes of these state institutions, hoping that it reflects on the ordinary Ghana in terms of their economic well-being and even their social and political status. And so it is intertwined. And we understand that our job is how to effectively balance it. But it is important to understand that that has always been the unfortunate burden of the National Democratic Congress anytime we come into government. This is not the first time we are having to deal with issues as far as the energy sector challenges are concerned. I remember the first tenure of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. He was faced with the unfortunate and messy situation of having to revive our energy sector because of failure of previous governments to put in place the necessary investments in the sector that eventually led us to do so. And he took responsibility and invested heavily in our energy sector. In terms of his plan to confront the financial viability or sustainability in the sector, remember that he introduced what we called ESLA.
Yeah.
And based on the projections, ESLA was able to more or less alleviate the plight of the Ghanaian people and also position many of these state institutions, specifically ECG, to be able to function as its maximum best. Unfortunately, we lost power at the back of that in 2016. We were hoping that the last 8 years, monumental investments would have been done in that regard, and the resources generated from ESLA would have been used to actually meet the financial challenges that was bedeviling the electricity company of Ghana. That happens to be that was not the case. We came back this year, and we are having to deal with a debt portfolio of in excess of about 70 billion Ghana cedis, ECG alone. So this is the situation we've had to deal with. And when it comes to the quarterly adjustments, it is important for you to appreciate that when the NPP signed the ECF, Extended Credit Facility with the IMF, as part of the executive summary, if you pick the report, I think page 67 or so, they made that commitment and reached that agreement with the IMF that indeed there will be quarterly adjustments when it comes to our electricity tariffs, having recounted the challenges bedeviling the sector. And so when you made references to quarterly adjustment, I just needed you to understand that this is part of the IMF agreement that they signed, and we are continuing as a government. And it is not the fault of this government. We just have to see that agreement through. Secondly, you need to also appreciate that between 2017 to 2024, an amount of about 40 billion was generated from EXLA. It is difficult to appreciate how that revenue was used to more or less handle the burden of, the cost burden of ECG. Absolutely not. And that's why this government, through ORA, has also indicated that they are investigating the energy sector. Remember the activities surrounding PDS. So the whole energy sector was in a total mess when we came into office. Financially, it was clearly unsustainable. We are dealing with a situation where the previous government had okayed ECG to even bring in materials that would not be required for the next 20, 30 years. And so this is the situation we have inherited. And if as a party you have been promised a reset, the onus is on you in the midst of these challenges to be able to resolve it for the benefit of the Ghanaian people.
But the interesting
one thing you need to understand, before you come in, one thing you also need to understand, that, like you clearly indicated, in 2022, the NPP, under the NPP, ECG presented a proposal of about 146. And if you look at the proposal, that can also be found, I think, under page 50 of that proposal. And indicated that if the government fails to see it through, there was going to be a likely jump after 2022. And so what we are having to deal with is the failure of the MPP administration to have beautifully engaged ECG and Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission to come to an acceptable figure that could have at least brought the proposal for increment at this unreasonable 226. For me, it is unreasonable to me. Because if you look at the economic situation in the country, I do not think that the Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission will sanction such an increment. Like history shows, there's likely going to be a negotiation, and that will be brought down.
And the follow-up I just want to make before you continue is that, you make reference to the messy situation that the energy sector finds itself in. You make reference to the debts that the ECG is currently plagued with. But then you look at the reasons they gave for the proposal. I mean, 408 million for the metering, the new meters that they introduced. They make reference to the depreciation of the cedi. For instance, depreciation of the cedi, they make reference to the benchmark pricing that they are hoping to bring it to that level. I mean, significantly, even the depreciation of the cedi. Your government has done some good work in the early parts of this year to try and stabilize the cedi. But then, in this period, in the last few months, we've seen the cedi, depreciate. And the ECG is saying that the work of the finance committee, of the finance minister in managing the cedi and the Bank of Ghana in managing the cedi at this point where it is depreciation is affecting them. And it's informing their proposal for an increment.
No. I think that is a total misinterpretation of the report. What the report seeks to do was simply suggesting was that, look, they are dealing with debts accumulated in the past. And if you are familiar with their 2022 proposal, it was indicated that from 2022, the losses of ECG jumped from about 22% to about 40% because of cedi depreciation around that period. Remember that they had indicated even before I think somewhere in November 2024, that they were having to deal with 38 million Ghana cedis losses as a result of the depreciation of the cedi in the previous administration. So the proposal seeks to be able to retire those debts that were accumulated that was occasioned by the depreciation of the cedi in the past, and possibly a future prospective analysis of what is likely to happen in terms of rates when it comes to what we are likely to pay going into the future. So it is when they make references to depreciation, it's not tied.
It's not tied to the depreciation of the cedi currently. That's what you're saying.
It is about the debt burden of ECG. And also remember that the tax of PURC in adjusting the prices would from time to time take into consideration the depreciation of the cedi.
But for instance, the Dumso levy, the energy minister indicated to us that part of the reason why they introduced it is to again tackle the debt in the energy sector. And one wonders, why then, if that is going to take care of the debt in the energy sector to a very large extent, why is the ECG again coming to us, making an argument about the debt?
Again, that means you actually did not follow the interview of the energy minister. He was clear that the government was looking at avenues to see how we could retire that debt. And one such avenue was
the Dumso levy was one of the avenues.
Was the levy that was introduced, but it was not intended to end the entire debt burden of ECG. That couldn't have been able to do so. And that point was made forcefully by the energy minister. We're looking for novel ways of at least confronting the debt situation. And so it does not mean that because there has been an introduction of that levy, the levy, we are not going to what the MPP calls the Dumso levy. We are not going to have to deal with other sectors in terms of when it comes to electricity pricing. Absolutely not. The quarterly adjustments formula, like I indicated to you, is part of the ECF arrangement with the IMF. And it is important for you to appreciate that in reality, the prices
for the ordinary Ghanaian, though, for the ordinary Ghanaian, I mean, how can you convince them that, yes, I mean, yeah, we agreed, there appears to be a general consensus that, yeah, let's pay the D-levy just so we can help keep our lights on. Then utility tariffs are going to be increased, and the same message is being told them that, yes, we want the tariffs to be increased, of course, we need extra money again to deal with the debt. Don't you think this will be very difficult for the Ghanaian
public? It depends on the track record of the government of the day. You see, this is a government that has so far managed to brought some measure of stability to the cedi. From the about 16 Ghana cedis to now trading around 11.99. Is that not accurate? That is the fact. Again, we are dealing with the government. We are dealing with the government.
To be fair, you take it at
we are dealing with the government. We are dealing. It's not 14 cities. We are dealing with
in January when he took over, it was 14 cities.
We are dealing with it was not 14.
It was 14.
It was not 14 cities. It was. Let us not go into that. We have had that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You go.
And you see, we are dealing with a government that also had the tax of at least championing a process that eventually led to the reduction of fuel prices. So if you look at the cumulative effect of many of these policies, we had brought some measure of relief. But unlike the New Patriotic Party, these are not reliefs that we are celebrating because we appreciate that the job ahead is enormous and that a reduction of about 2-3 cedis on a liter of fuel is not enough to solve the legitimate frustrations of the Ghanaian people, especially when it comes to the economy. So we appreciate. And I can assure you that this 226% is not going to pass.
How much government
I cannot tell, but I can say with certainty, just like the MPP and the MPP, they presented a proposal of about 146. It was not met. I can assure you that a government that is socially concerned about the economic fortunes of the good people of this country will not
Let me bring Doc in, then we'll come back to respond. Doc, I mean, yeah.
Thank you very much. It's very interesting when people think we can still keep to propaganda. Of course, it has benefited the NDC over the years. The use of propaganda, control the media space, let people believe in lies, and they come to power, and when they can't do it, they're like, oh, NDC, MPP cause. Let me tell you. They always create this impression that, which to me is very palpable false, that oh, when it comes to energy sector, they did the infrastructure, NPP did nothing. We left a bad situation they inherited. That is not true. Before His Excellency John Dramani Mahama took over this country, he and late Professor Mills.
Yeah.
That was when former President Akufo and the NPP were in government that time. Go and find out who did T1, T2, Asogli, all of them, even Buidam and Co. So they always want to deceive Kenyans. I think when it comes to the energy sector, oh, we don't do anything. They came and did. In fact, when we're having doom so for 4 years under the NDC, it was clear. I mean, all over Ghana here, everybody knew. The issue was not infrastructure. The issue was not provisional. The issue was the lack of liquidity, and in their government at that time is management of Ghana's liquidity. So they were not having money to actually power the facility we had. That was the situation. And then later on, they plunged Ghana into this arbitrary contract situation, take or pay. You remember? And we started paying millions that we never even benefited from. Till later on, we also came, and because it was contractual, we had our neck kind of plunged into the same situation.
I mean, you were at the finance ministry, so you are familiar with the debt situation.
I'm coming.
So you can appreciate their need to raise
what I'm
more
saying
revenue,
is,
right?
What I'm saying is, they themselves left debt. I think I was expecting we this morning will address this issue holistically with very little politics. That there has been sinusoidal issues with us as a country. Electricity has been a problem.
Yeah.
Energy sector, doom so. So what do we do? Rather than coming to do politics, let me tell you something. They say we never did anything. By 2024, about 276 communities, 276, with all the challenges and difficulties the world, including Ghana, had gone through, had been connected to the national grid. If there had not been any planting, no infrastructure, nothing, could we have done that? And let me tell you this. What happened in 2022? Sometimes it pains me that we all go to church and the mosque, and we think the only sin we should be careful when it comes to Christians and Muslims is probably fornication or maybe murder. What happened globally? By 2022, even the world was growing negative 3.3. Ghana grew 0.4. We had gotten global and national impaired productivity. Private sector has sacked over 40,000 people. Payee corporate taxes were all facing huge challenges in our country. Government was paying workers who are not even going to work. And of course, it affected currencies and everything in our country. You knew. And because of that, even the IPPs, me, I'm not an energy expert. The private power producers?
Yeah, independent power producers.
Because we had arrangement with them, most of them came from their government. The debt had to go up because some were in dollars. And Ghana was struggling using debt financing to sustain us. And that is why even COVID, we're one of the few countries in the world that, in terms of fatalities, the world said that we did well. That a lot of people did not die. Sorry to those who lost their relatives and friends. We all lost some of our.
So you can understand their attempt to.
What I'm saying is that what I'm saying is that whatever happened, had it not been even us that were able to manage the economy well. Look, I wish my brother could bring to us and read to us the budget Dr. Akufo-Addo, my brother Akufo-Addo, presented in Parliament. That by the time they took over, what was the economic situation? 8 months or 9 months of NDC. What have they done that they are talking about? They have brought the dollar down. What did they do? I'm asking you. Even contractors, they just paid the Nsawam contractor. It's not their fault. NDC hasn't done bad or good. I will not say, because first year of every new government, you go through this, lag period. But when they want to do politics, then we tell them they're not doing anything. Whatever we are enjoying today economically, output, because the economy is like pregnancy. When you inherited economy that had gone so bad, in fact, depreciation went as far back as, I think, 54%. Inflation, 54.1.
Yeah.
We're growing 0.4. Our payment, but everything went bad. But last quarter 2024, GDP had outgrown 2016. 2016 was 3.4. We were growing 5.6, getting to 6%. Primary balance, even inflation rate had been reduced from 54.1 to somewhere around 20. Even depreciation came as low as about 14.5. And it was that downward trend that we are all enjoying now. NDC have not done, they have not done anything.
The Bank of Ghana,
but I'm not saying
Bank of Ghana
it's their
has
fault.
made some interventions.
What interventions? Which one?
They've pumped some dollars into the system, and they've confirmed they've done that.
Where did they get the dollar from? Let me explain something to you. For the first time, I was on Ghana Cocoa Board. For the first time in the history of this country, I stand to be corrected, that I know. We are doing cocoa syndication. Let me tell you, today people should know this. Normally, we do the syndication outside Ghana, and it involves billions of dollars. So when they are paying us, they normally pay into foreign accounts. For the first time that I know, I can be corrected, that's what I'm saying, I know, we did cocoa syndication domestically. Even by the time MPP left, we had gotten about $600 million in here, in this country. By January, we had gotten about $2 billion. It had got nothing to do with the NDC. And of course, we had democratically, peacefully changed a government. So market confidence, investor confidence came back. And then there was a trade war between the giant economies, which affected the dollar. Look, even that time, I was traveling. I went to the bank, they said 10.81, but there was no dollar. I went to about 3 banks. Then I came to officially register Forex Bureau. Some were 14, some were 13.5. I hate black market. But the numbers I was hearing, so I even issued a statement that one market economy, one country, 3 different rates. So far as we are still having black market, which is making it possible whether under NDC MPP to know the amount of dollars being circulated in Ghana. So far as we import almost everything, this short-term approach and technique in dealing with the dollar issue, we as a country, let me speak to you small. We should stop this back and forth, NDC, MPP, we will blame each. We should solve our problems.
But bottom line is dealing with the debts in the energy sector. And I think you do, but I mean, and Doc, you do confirm that you came to inherit some debts. They also came to inherit some debt. And as we speak now, there's still a huge debt in the energy sector.
So what I'm saying is...
Yes, and they say they are trying to bring some of these adjustments so they can resolve it.
MPP also tried. They're also trying. One, practically, maybe I don't have the figure now. I can't come and lie. I'm not that type. You know me. I can't have it in my head that the figure is this. But they left that. We came. The global situation because of dollar made it worse because we're owing independent private producer. This is a fact. It's not any fault of ours. It was uncontrollable. We came, yes, we had arrangement with IMF. They couldn't have changed it.
So do you have a challenge with the proposal the ECG is making?
The problem we have, one, let me finish this first, I beg you, respectfully. The problem is that we are not paying for what we consume in our country because of subsidies and the things we do for ourselves as a country. That is one. Two, Ghana is running, we call something negative effective tax rate economy. We need to look, we have a lot of fundamentals and bases. If we don't solve it, we should forget that everyday complaining because we don't want to solve them. What I mean is that whether NDC, MPP, whether COVID or no COVID, the amount of money we generate domestically, revenue, if we share among all the households in Ghana, the amount each of them gets all the time is far less than the amount we spend as a country.
Yep.
When NDC wants to bring taxes, MPP will say no. When MPP wants to break taxes, NDC will say no. And the public will follow them. So we always have to go and borrow. We have a lot of issues that we need to solve them. Other than that, one day, when Togo, Nigeria, IMF, World Bank, they all decide to keep within their sovereignty or themselves, that they are not going to support Ghana and something happens, we are in trouble. The fact is, we need to redefine our corporate focus as a country. MPP and DC should sit down, assess certain common areas, energy sector, ABC, this, that. What can we do with our politics? We have 2 parties and governments that hardly do you see them even embark on serious research into our secondary macro indicators and come out with policies. Somebody will come and tell you, oh, 24-hour economy, and they had never researched. Somebody will come and tell you, one constituency, $1 million, and we had never researched. Look, when you say this, they will insult you. They attack you because they think everything should be politics. But I am telling you, what happened in our country, in the world, 2020 to 2022, if maybe, I would say maybe because they were not there, I'm making just a proxy statement, maybe have been any other government, Ghana wouldn't have gotten where MPP government took us to. They have come to meet the challenge. The challenge was there, we came to meet. They said they were bringing Asempa. They could solve our problems. Ghanaians voted for them massively. They should stop complaining and shitting blames and solve the problem.
All right, let's just read some messages coming through now, and I will continue the conversation. I'll come to you, Mr. Hamza, on this one. Someone says, this is from Aaron. He says, to achieve single-digit inflation and favorable exchange rate, Ghana must address both immediate and underlying economic challenges. Policies promoting agricultural productivity and manufacturing and value addition can create a robust local economy less susceptible to external shocks. Additionally, bolstering transparency and efficiency within the fiscal management can enhance investor confidence, ultimately leading to a stronger currency and reduce inflation. Okay, Teacher Kojo from Tepa says, NDC, when they were in opposition, told the whole world that Ghana was not safe under President Akufo-Addo, even when their surrogate like Kelvin and others were insulting top leaders of the country, including chiefs and pastors, without any form of arrest. It is a shame that today they can't stand the same insults and have resorted to intimidation and the arrest of the opponent at the slightest provocation. And he goes on to greet his chairman and MP. Now, this one is from Honorable Akiseme from Sefi Bekwai. He said, why do some MPP supporters defend individuals like Abronye and others who insult leaders? Why don't they offer guidance when the insults are made instead of defending them after they've been arrested? Doesn't time early... I'm sure he's not referring to you. You haven't made any comment in that regard. Doesn't timely advice help?
The police and the other people.
Yeah. This one says, today I enjoyed Hamza's submission very well. Looking into his eyes, I could feel how passionate he was on the issue of illegal style of arrests. It is about time the Ghana Police Service stop this jumping of walls with their faces covered. It's very dangerous and anything can happen to that person as part of defense and protection by those living in that house. Master Planner says this one. This one says, good morning. I'm Big Alasko from Garu, Tempani, and my greetings to all the youth in Tempani constituency. At times, democracy is good, and at times, it's not good. How can the whole regional chairman for a political party be insulting the IGP like his child? Abronye needs to be schooled, but I'm surprised also he is a lawyer. I want to advise the youth against any last-minute recruitment into any employment sector. Well, he's not. We understand he went to read first degree in law, but he's not a lawyer. He's not been called to the bar. Good morning. MPP has no moral right to cry wolf about the detention of its members because we witness worse human rights atrocities and abuses under their rule, where Fix the Country activists were detained for months without trial. And the NPP, Gregory Afuku, was detained for 8 years after he was granted bail by the court. MPP demolished the homes of Raymond Aka and Honorable Roxon as show of power. Well, based on that, okay. Birthday messages, not birthday here. This one is Gariba from Tamale. He says, my question to President Mahama, the NDC, is where are the 133 jobs they promised Ghanaians? And teachers and nurses have been employed for 8 to 12 months without a salary. As for the Abronye arrests, it's nothing but a political witch hunt because there is an NDC broadcaster who has insulted almost everybody in Ghana, yet such a person comes to Ghana and is given police protection. Hypocrisy and dishonesty is our biggest problem in Ghana, he says. He said, good morning, host. Please, is that Honorable Dr. Stephen Amoah? Yes, he is the one. Was he in Ghana when Honorable John Jinapo and his former boss, Dr. Kwabena Donko, were harassed in their homes, and their laptops were taken abroad? He was quiet. Okay. I think I get the point you're trying to make. But he said even himself, when they were going to pass the e-levy, he was saying that they will pass it because they are in power. What goes around comes around. Oh, wow. Interesting. Interesting comments. He says, Musa Batwa says, the security situation is commendable because the law is working fairly Unlike the Ayawaso West by-election and the MPP where lives were lost, without justice at the Blokuma North, no lives were lost, yet offenders were prosecuted. This is how a just system should operate. And he says, okay, let me see this one. Good morning. Always have a way of justifying every levy and taxes they introduce. My problem is how they keep on blaming the previous government and using that to justify their incompetence, he says, while claiming credit for everything. We as Ghanaians are watching and monitoring the development, and when the time comes for us to make a decision, we will do so. We are giving time some time. Matuk, I hope I got your name right. Al-Hassan from Zenu Central says, good morning to everyone in the media. Ghana is more partisan than the politicians we know. We should learn to hold institutions accountable when things go wayward in their institutions and always, instead of always blaming the political class. And the political class too should stop defending everything. The sad side of sticker argument of their good management end up giving Ghanaians head cuts and the economy was classified as junk economy. Okay. Alhaji Hamza Pig Farm says, good morning, my brother. I totally agree with all the comments made by my brother Hamza in connection with the arrest of Abronye. We should all condemn the style that was used in the arrest, but expect the media to also reach out to the Ghana police for more information. But truth be told, the insult attack by the guy should not be condoned, he goes on to say. Sami Boachi says, personally, I disapprove of politics involving insults and distasteful language, and while Abronye's actions were unwarranted, his arrest by security personnel in Rambo-style manner, reminiscent of a thief's apprehension, was unjustified. We should be cautious when arresting individuals for their verbal expressions. But as this indicates, the NDC reciprocating against the MPP, given power is transient, is suspecting the MPP might just come and repeat same. Okay. Well, you wanted to make a point just before...
Yes. It's only fair that I respond to many of the questions raised by my brother. You see, before 2016, you know, and I believe that he's an economist, and so he ought to know, that after the 2007-2008 financial crisis, it was predicted that the effects was likely to fall on Africa in about 4 or 5 years. And the NDC, by 2012, 2013, started feeling the effects of that particular decision. And if you go and read both our 2009 budget, when His Excellency President Mahama was first sworn into office, those projections were made into the future and the likely effect it will have on our economy. And 2013 budget, you go and have a look at that budget. And that was the time between 2014 and 2015 that even commodity prices fell below average at the world market prices. And so it had an effect on the Ghanaian economy. And in terms of our investments in the energy sector, all those things were impacted. But we did not lament over the situation. Within that same period, His Excellency President Mahama brought on stream in excess of about 1,200 megawatts of power. We met about 2,900, of which about 800 megawatts of power was not even operational under them. That was what they left us. When they were faced with the energy crisis, so when he's talking about investments in the energy sector and that they did so much investment, I'm laughing. Because when they were confronted with energy crisis under Akufo, you remember what they did? They pulled pastors to Akosombo to pray over the situation. His Excellency President Mahama and the NDC could have done so. I can give you evidence of investments we made from Ameri to Car Power. He knows. AXA and the likes. That resulted in excess of about 1,200 megawatts contribution to our energy, basket of this country. Our Tuabo alone brought on stream about 900 megawatts of power. And that is the record of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the National Democratic Congress when it comes to the investment in the energy sector. And we just did not make these investments without being mindful of the financial sustainability. And that's why we introduced ESLA. That is not to say that we're not anticipating living behind debts, but we had prepared enough through ESLA to be able to retire these debts. What did they do with the ESLA proceeds? And today he says that we should not take credit for how we manage the economy. Really? And that what we are enjoying is as a result of the work that they put into the economy. Everybody in this country knows your record when it comes to the economy of this country. You took us to IMF. You, as a result of your poor management of the economy, were rated junk status. Ghana was unable even to go out to the capital markets to borrow. Is that not a fact? We were locked out of the capital markets. That is your record when it comes to the economy. And when we came into office, we decided the so-called gold for exchange program that you launched, hoping that it was going to transform the sector for you. Even the Bank of Ghana today tells us that it was running in losses. You have not been able to contest that. When we came, we decided to streamline the gold sector through the establishment of Gold Board. And we had indicated in our manifesto that it was one surest way of managing the city. It has brought some relief to the city, and that Ghanaians are living that relief. We indicated that this was a government, that is the MPP government, that was engaged in reckless expenditure, corruption, and that one way to have a handle on our economic condition in this country was simply to cut out that wastage and corruption. And so if for 7-8 months now, this government has been able to do that, we are not spending recklessly in digging up a hole in excess of $70 million in the name of building a cathedral. Have you seen us do that? That is prudent management of the economy. And the finance minister, when he presented the budget, he was emphatic that this government would manage our finances prudently. And that is what has led to these modest gains that we are experiencing. And we are referring to it as modest because we are not a bunch of arrogant people, because we still know that a lot of work still needs to be done. We are talking about a regime and a government that took pride even in borrowing and decided to organize a kinky party at the back of that. We understand that even with these modest gains, a lot still needs to be done for the Republic of Ghana. So I'm surprised about the things Speaker is talking about today. If he was indeed proud of the economic record they left, I'm sure that he would have been an instrumental member of the Dr. Mahama campaign. Why is it that today he has jumped ship, even as a former deputy finance minister? Because he himself is not happy about the record they left.
I mean, he says that what was happening in Ghana was not exclusive to Ghana. I mean, the state of the economy
what happens
was
as far as, you see, that funny excuse must be thrown away. Ghana is not an island at every step of the way. International economic occurrences have rippling effects on every country. Yeah. But even at the time that we are going through these challenges, many African countries were doing better than Ghana. The IMF chief representative to Ghana then, Mr. Laporte something, had indicated that even before COVID, Ghana's economy had shown zero signs of distress. Your own media house interviewed him, and the story is online. It was simply because of the recklessness. And today you are saying that we don't need to remind people about the kind of legacy that we inherited from you, an appalling one, and the need for every Ghanaian to begin to tighten his belt. For us to be able to confront these challenges, we shouldn't tell the Ghanaian people what we came to meet.
Why do you think that?
Do you think that it is just for the beautification of politics that His Excellency President Mahama has reduced our number of ministers from about 90, in excess of 90, to 60, geared towards protecting the public service and ensuring that we engage in prudent financial spending in the midst of this economic turbulence?
I mean, regardless of how much PRC will go on to agree, why do you think Ghanaians should bear with you, understand, and work with you, regardless of the tariff adjustment that will come?
No. I have already indicated that this 226%, I'm pretty much convinced.
Yeah,
that
so regardless of how much will come, clearly, even if it is going to be 40%, it's still an extra burden on the Ghanaian people. Why should they understand and accept this increment?
Because like we have indicated, it is about sustainability in the sector. And in tandem with our line and agenda to reset. And you see, government is not just only going to honor the IMF ECF conditionality in terms of the arrangement that they reached, the MPP reached with them.
Yeah.
It is also important that in appreciating the burden, the economic cost to the Ghanaian people, it is the reason why government is rolling out a number of policies. If you look at LEAP, the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty, government has increased it monumentally. School feeding program has been increased. Coverage has been increased. And today we are talking about an effort to even bring down petroleum prices, all intended to lessen the burden on the Ghanaian people. Government has also proceeded at the back of that to invest monumentally in the activities of the National Apprenticeship Program. And remember that the ordinary Ghanaian who would sign up for this program would be given allowances as they embark on the training, and intended to lessen the burden of many of these interventions, especially when it comes to getting our state enterprises to work effectively.
Yeah.
So it is not as if government is focusing on simply raising revenue. Government is also appreciating that sometimes when it comes to ECG, for example, the cost component would have direct effect on the ordinary Ghanaian. But what other measures can we roll out to lessen the burden when it comes to the effects of such increments? Because whether you like it or not, like you indicated, we pay far less for electricity than we ought to have been paying as citizens, largely because of our economic situation. And if you look at Africa, for example, Ghana falls amongst the 10 countries with the lowest rate of electricity bills.
Let me bring Doc in now. Doc, you can have the final take on this.
You know something?
Yeah.
Honestly, these days, I don't want to do these things, but when you're pushed, then you have to. I'm surprised. You're talking about corruption. He's a lawyer. How many MPP or MPP government officers, officials, or even public servants and the MPP have been jailed in this country? And how many of them have been jailed? No, how many? I'm asking you. You're a media man, go and research. If you are talking about corruption in our country, the NDC, you cannot even find them any vocabulary. They are so corrupt. And they are corrupt because courts of competent jurisdiction.
Why did you abandon?
Court, oh please, when you're talking, I kept quiet, please. Courts of competent jurisdiction. What does the Constitution say? One cannot be tagged guilty unless what? Proven guilty by court of competent jurisdiction. NDC all the time, they leave power, they are jailed. MPP left power, 8 years, they were in government. Who could they jail? So they like lying and using propaganda and trying to gimmicks. A government that you just even finish your appointment, even I haven't finished. You are claiming now, they will get, you are reading manifesto. Talk what you've done. You've not done anything this year. And I'm not blaming them for that. I don't do my policy like that. They are in government for 1 year, doing a whole lot of configuration, arrangements, even vetting some of the things they want to pay. So I will not falter them. But they should stop lying, deceiving Ghanaians. Boss, you're talking about legacy. And I'm surprised he used the adverb, is it social or adjective, social, whatever. They are social. A socialist that cannot boast of one pro-poor policy of national character and tenacity. A socialist that had to cancel teachers' allowance for the poor, nurses' allowance for the poor. It's only Ghana that people sit down for NDC to deceive them.
But now they've introduced
I'm coming.
No food stress.
Where is it?
They paid an extra 50,000 students.
Does it have any national credit? They just started.
Oh my God.
Is it where?
So they have it.
No, where? They should tell them you not even pay fees at this segment that we did. Can you compare them to MPP when it comes to implementation of pro-poor policies, both in kind and cash? Can you? If you're a good Christian or Muslim, tell me. Then you come back to managing the economy. I don't know whether it's his area. He'll go and get all the budget statements from 92 and now, and she'll come again. 2016, NDC left 3.4% GDP growth. The last time they left it for us, when President Akufo came, 2000, it was also around 3%. NDC. Consistently, they cannot even leave this country with even a GDP growth of 4%. Never. Then you're talking this. NDC is the only party whose communicators can come and tell you that they met Jesus Christ on their way to Ghana. Because they think it's all about, they believe in communist inferior tactics. Some of them were sent to Bulgaria, Cuba, Russia those days to learn how to lie. And when they came, that was how they had propaganda secretary. How you sit down and lie. And they keep on, they will not change.
Is that not a bit unfair to them?
What is unfair?
I mean,
I'm coming. You're talking about the crisis they had. The IMF came publicly and made a very emphatic statement without any ambiguity and debate and said that the COVID crisis was the worst ever after the Great Depression. That was 1929. When in the history of this country that we had global crisis that had hit Ghana so hard that workers were asked to stay home but they were paid. When? You can't compare whatever crisis you were talking about or talking of. The fact is, they are all not perfect, but between the NDC and MPP, managing the economy, I have their data here. It's here. Tell me, no alarm, I'll send it to you. Where we left this economy by November, December 2024, except that Ghana runs, we call something defensive sector when it comes to our market economy. We don't run predominantly aggressive. Defensive sector means the systematic risk index of Ghana is far less than 1. So when even the economy is doing well and it moves on 10%, it takes a long time for Ghanaians to feel it. And that's why whether NDC and MPP, when we are touting ourselves of economic indicators, people will say we don't feel them in our pocket. So by the end of 2024, the economy had been fully about 70% restored. Go and check the primary balance. Go and check even inflation, how it had descended down. Even the exchange rate. Go and check our GDP. Go and check all. Even reserve. Most of them were better than 2016. But of course, Ghanaians had gone through most painful impact of global crisis negatively. And they were suffering, which is a fact. And the economy had been restored. But its practical impact would have taken time because we ran defensive market economy. And now the NDC guys, like somebody got somebody pregnant. And then at the 7th month, you came and married the person. And when you have a baby, say, me, I'm very fertile than the other person. What have they done these 8 years? Nothing. 8 months. 8 months, nothing. And nothing not because they are lazy, nothing because President Mahama doesn't know what he's doing or Dr. Akufo-Addo is not doing well. But that is how conventionally, when you are in new government, even as late or whatever as 7 months, they were still appointing ministers, deputy ministers. And let me tell you, the fact that somebody has 10 children and another person has 5 children does not necessarily mean that the one that has 5 children cut down expenditure. We have those whose family size and nucleus, you can only count 4. But they spend 5,000 a month. You can have somebody whose family size is 14, but they spend far less. So it's not necessarily the size. It's about effectiveness, efficiency, value for money, and how much you spend. We just started. It's far less than 1 year.
But I mean,
they shouldn't talk the way they are talking because even now you can see the NDC guys are confused. Look at the number of taxes, the whatever de-levy, the way they castigated us. They talk about LGBT. They were like, oh, Ghana should come to. The NDC MPs were in the mosque and other religious churches telling them that we were going to let their kids, ladies marry ladies or female. They talk about Galamsey. What is happening now? I traveled to Western Region through Obuasi Road from Kumasi. But the main road, go and see what's going on there. I'm not blaming them. But the things, look, I went to Osu. It's on my phone now. One plantain, is it one finger of plantain?
Yeah.
10 Ghana cedis.
Is it the roasted one or the...
No. The red one. It's on my phone. I can show you. It's got a video there. I am not blaming the NDC and President Mahama. Because when there's scarcity of food, but you see the way they use those things to insult us, attack us, make Ghanaians feel like even tax there is evil, food scarcity. And you still get some experts in our country, professors and doctors, who have underlying interest, and they don't believe there is God. They will come and lie and defend the NDC. And now you are in power, you are now crying and complaining and NDC. Didn't you know this?
All right.
Asampa, you say you are bringing Asampa. Is this the Asampa? Asampa is when somebody insults all the people in their country. He is gone free. There's no problem. Other 2 ladies insult the president, which I condemn. Then we even abuse the law, the very constitution that has given us our sovereignty. You are talking about all these things. Look,
all right.
Equity is equality.
Okay.
One of the maxims of law of equity. And we should know that if you came with Asempa should serve everyone. You are talking exactly a situation where even our laws are burdening the governed unequally. Look, NDC is not just a political party.
Well, I think we are going to have hopefully we can make this regular. If Honorable is going to be available.
Is worse.
Mr. Hamza, I think I'm just been prompted that we need to bring some interview with one of our sponsors, so we'll have to make way. Hopefully, we'll have you back in the studio maybe next week so we can continue the conversation. I think this has been enjoyable, great debate, and we'll continue this conversation as we make efforts to
allow his unfortunate politicking to slide. So I'll lie.
Oh, but you said
what I expected. I expected you to scrutinize many of the false claims.
But you,
so he did.
No. But you knew what he said.
You spewed so much.
Thank you very much.
And it's just unfortunate that there's no time to Mr.
And thank you very much to Mr. Honorable Stephen Amoah, MP, and hopefully we'll have them regularly here so we can keep the conversation going on.